I had lived on Cask 9 for 7 years before I ever saw another living soul. That was the deal when I took the contract. Remote survey post. Edge of charted space. 1 hab unit, 1 atmospheric recycler, 1 human geologist with a tolerance for cold and silence. Cask 9 was classified as a marginal death world, too cold, too unstable, too unpredictable for permanent colonization. Blizzard systems formed without warning, temperatures dropped fast enough to shatter exposed metal, and the winds could peel the skin off anything foolish enough to face them unprotected. For me, it was home. I was sealing the outer hatch when the storm alarms began screaming. Pressure drop. Wind escalation. Thermal collapse. I swore under my breath and slammed the final lock just as the world outside my viewport vanished into white fury. Snow hit the hut like artillery. The entire structure groaned, steel supports flexing as the blizzard arrived in full. Then, I saw movement. At first, I thought it was a sensor glitch. Nothing survived outside during a cask storm. Nothing native. Nothing imported. Visibility was down to nothing, and yet something staggered past my external floodlight. I leaned closer to the glass. A figure. Tall. Slender. Wrapped in shredded thermal fabric clearly not rated for this world. It moved badly, unevenly, collapsing to one knee before dragging itself upright again. Impossible, I muttered. The external motion sensor tripped. Someone or something was at my door. I didn't think. I hit the manual override. The hatch cracked open just enough for the wind to scream inside, snow blasting across the floor. A shape fell through the opening, heavy and limp, and I slammed the door shut again, sealing us both inside the hut. The storm raged on the other side. I turned. The alien woman lay on my floor, shuddering violently. She was nothing like the Xenos I'd seen in holovids. No armored plates. No exotic glow. She was tall and willowy, with pale blue skin marbled with darker lines that pulsed faintly as if reacting to stress. Her limbs were too long, her fingers delicate, tipped with translucent claws that trembled uncontrollably. She was freezing to death. I dropped beside her instantly. Hey, stay with me, I said, even though I knew she probably couldn't understand me. Her breathing was shallow. Her skin was dangerously cold to the touch. I dragged her toward the heat vent, stripped off my own thermal jacket, and wrapped it around her without hesitation. The hut's medical scanner chirped angrily as it tried and failed to identify her biology. Unknown species, it reported. Core temperature critically low. Survival probability. Override, I snapped. I worked on instinct. Slow warming. No sudden heat shock. I activated the emergency heater and sat beside her, my back against the wall, pulling her closer to share body warmth. Minutes passed. Then her eyes fluttered open. They were silver. Not reflective, luminous. She gasped, sharp and panicked, claws digging into my sleeve as she tried to recoil. Easy, I said, raising one hand. You're safe. Storm outside. You'd be dead out there. She stared at me in horror. A human, she whispered in broken galactic standard. I blinked. You speak standard. Her breathing quickened. This world, classified lethal. You live here? Yeah, I said. I do. Something changed in her expression then, not fear. Disbelief. Her name was Elyssie. She was from the aerolith Concorde, a species evolved for temperate skies and gentle winds, not ice storms that could pulverize stone. Her people considered humans terrifying not because of our weapons, but because we adapted to places like Cask 9. She had been part of a diplomatic survey ship that crashed days ago, far from my location. The survivors scattered, hoping to find shelter. When the blizzard hit, she ran blindly until she saw my hut's beacon through the storm. I thought, she said weakly, wrapped in blankets, that humans exaggerated your death world tolerance. I thought it propaganda. I snorted softly. Nah. Just bad luck of evolution. She studied me intently. Your hands, they are ungloved. Your breath is steady. Storm like this? I shrugged. Annoying, but survivable. Her pupils dilated. To us, she whispered, this storm is a planetary extinction event. I stared at her. That was when I realized something was wrong. Her bioluminescent markings were dimming, not stabilizing. What's happening? I asked. Her gaze dropped. My species, she said quietly, cannot survive prolonged exposure to fear hormones. Stress shuts down our circulatory regulators. Even now, I am dying. I cursed. The med scanner confirmed it. Her internal systems were destabilizing despite the warmth. Her body wasn't built for terror. You ran through a death storm, I said. Of course you're terrified. She gave a weak, humorless smile. That is why I fled. And why I am failing. I clenched my jaw. No, I said firmly. You're not dying in my hut. I recalibrated the med bay, flooding the room with controlled sound, low-frequency vibrations, and steady heat, things that calmed human nervous systems. I slowed my breathing deliberately and spoke in a calm, even tone, describing mundane things. My name's Aaron. I fix rocks for a living. This hut leaks heat through the east wall. Drives me crazy. She listened. Her markings stabilized, just a little. I leaned closer, meeting her eyes. You're safe, I said. Storm can't touch you here. And neither can fear. Her breathing evened out. Minutes passed. Then hours. By the time the blizzard began to fade, Elyssie was alive. The rescue ship arrived 2 days later. The Concorde vessel hovered above the snowfields, shields blazing as its crew rushed toward my hut in full hazard suits. They froze when they saw her sitting beside me, wrapped in human blankets, sipping hot nutrient broth. You survived, one of them whispered in awe. Elyssie stood slowly. Yes, she said. Because of him. Their gazes shifted to me. A human. Unarmed. Unarmored. Alive. Later, the Concorde commander approached me carefully. Do you understand, he asked, what you did? I shrugged. Kept someone from freezing. You remained calm in conditions that induce fatal panic in my people, he said. Your presence stabilized her physiology. I frowned. So? He bowed his head. To us, he said, you are a living shelter. A species that does not merely endure death worlds, but denies them. When they left, the hut felt quieter than ever. The storm had passed. The snow glittered under a pale sun. And somewhere among the stars, a new story was spreading. Not about weapons. Not about conquest. But about a death worlder who opened his door in a blizzard. And proved that sometimes, humanity itself is the safest place in the universe.